Hello, welcome back to the channel, Smishak's Custom Baits. Rick Smishak here. Continuing with Chapter 3. This is Part 3 of Chapter 3 of Knowing Bass. Going to finish Chapter 3 in the next video. So, but this one, we'll talk about what happens when a bass gets that odor, the smell of food. Okay. Well, first of all, a bass's sense of smell and taste each control different behaviors. Sense of smell controls the search for food. You can smell the food, it starts looking for it. Sense of taste controls food uptake, chewing, swallowing. Who knew fish chewed their food, right? But I guess they do. Bass go through a loosely defined set of behaviors when they become excited by food odor. Not all fish go through all 4 stages. Not all fish go through the stages in the correct order. And some fish, when they're stressed, don't go through any of them. Okay. So the first stage is the arousal stage. And that's when a bass, when that level of detection, there's enough molecules flowing through its nose for the bass to detect. That's when that happens. They smell the food, they get aroused. The stronger the odor, the more aroused they become, and as a general rule. And even inactive bass can become aroused by a strong food odor. Okay. Stage 2 is launching the attack. Once the bass has located the food, and if it's hungry enough and the food odor is strong enough, it goes looking for that food. But they're poor odor trackers because in last video I talked about how their nostrils, the 2 pairs of nostrils, are too close together. They're also poor odor trackers because of dispersion in the water of the odors. It happens. It's uneven, and really, unless the odor is very close, like within 12 inches or so, or it's being washed downstream, then the bass just has to follow the current upstream to find it. But with those 2 exceptions, it's almost impossible for a bass to track an odor to its source. Okay. Because bass can't find their food normally by scent, they turn to their eyes. They use their eyes. They're primarily a sight predator. Obviously, in murky water, they can't do too much sight predatoring. Being actually just using their eyes, sight predatoring. Did I really say that? I think I did. Murky water, they have to use their nose. If it's, unless it's useless because there's so much debris and stuff in the water column. But their lateral line, they use that. But unless it's stuff like that, their eyesight is their primary source of finding food, although their sense of smell tells them it's there. Step 3 is assessing the odor. Does the bass need to slowly swim up to whatever it is, smelling it as it goes, or is it going to just charge out there and eat it? Well, sometimes they do one, or sometimes they do the other. Goes right back to not every fish does every one of these steps in every circumstance. But a bass that gets real close to, say, your lure and then turns away at like the last second, it's most likely because there was an unappealing odor on your lure. Okay, bass going through this third stage save themselves from getting hooked when you have a little bit of DEET on your lure. Stage 4 is the taste test. This is where soft plastics that are impregnated with attractants shine. That's where those the attractants themselves shine, is when they're impregnated in the soft plastics, because then the fish can pick it up, they can chomp on it a couple of times, and if it has what they like, for that body of water, if they're mostly eating crayfish and you have something that supposedly mimics the taste of crayfish, well then if it's accurate and it does work, um, then the fish should take it and chomp on it a few times, say, "Oh yeah, this is food," and go to swallow it. That taste test is the final barrier between a bass and a disastrous mistake. Okay, because not everything that a bass takes in its mouth is food. They take stuff in their mouth just to see if it's food, and sometimes they're not right. So but with that said, we got one more video where we're talking about the sensitive taste and smell for next week. And so if you liked what you saw, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and share the videos. Okay, that's probably the best way you can help the channel. We appreciate every single second that you watch, every subscription. Yes, please, thank you. Um, Until next time, folks, tight lines, calm waters, and God bless.